What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more video game music, and we're back with another tune from Star Control 2. I'm going to try to be a bit quicker this time. Indeed, if you want to hear me talk about the game itself or my history playing it, listen to or watch my reaction to Orbit 3, which is one of the tracks when you're in planetary orbit in the game. But there was a wrinkle I forgot to mention. After developing the first two games, Fred Ford and Paul Reich eventually went on to work on some other things, and while they had been offered to do a sequel, like a third game, they initially turned it down, and then eventually the rights to the franchise went to another group of people, and they made a third game, Star Control 3, which in some ways seemed to go back on some things they were developing in the first couple games. And a lot of fans, even though they bought the game, there were a lot of people who felt like it just didn't have the same feel, and certainly Fred Ford and Paul Reich were critical of the third game and the decisions that were made. So the franchise essentially went into hibernation for a while, and there were some disputes. Once Fred and Paul decided they wanted to try to make another sequel, there was a legal dispute over who had the rights to use the name Star Control, or even some of the names and likenesses of the species that had been created in the franchise. And eventually they went to court not too long ago, 2018, something like that. And eventually they reached a settlement. And my understanding, which I didn't know before just looking into this, is that they're still actually going to work on another sequel. And I remember in the early 2000s, they had come back to the idea of wanting to work on it, but at this point they were locked out from it. They weren't allowed to use the name. But yeah, apparently they're in development for a true third game, a sequel to the second game that is going to ignore what happened in the third game that was made by another group of developers. So yeah, I had been unaware of that, but I'm looking forward to it if they put it out. Hopefully it comes out for Xbox, which happens to be the system that I have. In any case, we're going to listen to Hyperspace, which is essentially the mode of fast travel. When you go into hyperspace in the game, not only is it it's a different dimension, so it looks different than normal space as you travel, and ultimately, you burn the nuclear fuel that you use, doubly or triply as fast while you're going through hyperspace. But it allows you, essentially you're going through a wormhole is the premise of the game. And so you can go from one star system to another very far star system in a lot less time than it would actually take you to travel like you normally do in the game. And ultimately, yeah, it's a really alien sort of environment, because it's not the dimension that you and, I and everyone sits in real life, or even in most of the game. So it's a really fantastic and energetic type of soundtrack or score for the that part of the game, which again you use a lot when you travel. Fair to say though, time, they sort of try to account for time dilation in the sense that when you go through hyperspace, time starts burning really quickly, and again you're on a finite clock for the overall game. So yeah, again, I looked into, there's a number of other people beyond Fred Ford and Paul Reich who worked on the second game, but I didn't see anyone credited specifically as a composer, so there may very well be a person I should be crediting in this video, but I can't find it. So for now, I'm just going to keep titling these, Fred Ford and Paul Reich, Star Control 2, and whatever the track is. So anyway, this is the track for Hyperspace from the original soundtrack of Star Control 2. Oh, whoops. Did I actually do that? I actually did that. Well, alright, I'm going to have to try to find it really quickly. I do apologize. Okay, it's right here. I do. The problem is it's all one big file. What? on the hardware of a video game system. Sounds pretty good for 92. I like the way it rolled back in with that kick beat. Like that tonal shift, you wouldn't hear it very often because like it's rare when you'd be in hyperspace for longer than like a couple minutes in the game. I remember the first time you like really have to travel a crazy far distance, you hear it and you're like, oh damn, like what? I thought the loop was shorter than that. Another good one there. But yeah, I did forget to mention you can be caught by other ships. Like I think the like premise in the game is that like when you go into hyperspace, you know, it's a detectable like disturbance in like space time or like you know, whatever the metric of evaluation is. And so sometimes like you're traveling and like you can see like on the screen like it's not clear what the ship is until you go back into like true space, but yeah, you get chased. So yeah, again, so much going on in the game. Just a really top game. I'll keep looking for the name of any composer. I wouldn't be surprised to not, like, I know they were like, you know, real software guys, the guys who developed it. They weren't just, you know, like people who like had an idea and like paid other people to do it. Nevertheless, I don't know if they were the composers, but until I have more information, because they're the main people behind the game, I'll just keep putting them in the credits. So in any case, let me know what you think. I'll see you next time. Peace.